My name is Matt Sheridan. I'm here with Martin Tobias. We're out of the PTC. We work with the Euphoria team. And today we're going to talk about extending AR with Euphoria Studio. So first, how many people here have worked with Studio in creating AR so far? Okay, so I'm going to give that about 20%. That's fine. This is not a requirement to participate in this chat, but certainly just give you an idea of who has worked with the product. So let me just start by giving you a quick agenda here. We're going to just talk a little bit about Studio and what it means. Take 2 seconds to make sure we're all on the same page. Then we're going to talk about why it's important and what we put into the product. And then we'll talk about how we can extend this, and that's why it's a developer chat. We're going to talk about what we can do to add on to some of the experiences and make it your own experience. So just to start with, for those of you who are not familiar with Euphoria Studio, PTC has a tool that allows us to rapidly build augmented reality experiences. This is the tool right here on the screen. And what we are very good at is taking content. So that content might be geometry, or it might be IoT readings, or it might be something else like documents or video, and bringing that in and then generating augmented reality experiences. If you want to learn more about that, you can come by our booth, which is over near the giant Bell & Howell robot, and we'll happily take you through and talk more about how to do this. This tool has been out for roughly maybe a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years. And what we knew when we started building the tool was that every tool obviously evolves over time, and you don't accomplish everything on day one. So we wanted to think about this, and we knew we were going to accomplish a whole bunch of really important items: geometry, IoT readings, content, AR, computer vision. But underneath the covers, there's JavaScript and the ability in using AngularJS that allows you, who would be building your own AR experiences, to extend what you already have there. So if I take a look at the different sections of Studio, just to give you an idea, Section A here gives you the components of an experience. So, what do I have in the experience, just like you'd build out some sort of project. Section B, we have out-of-the-box widgets. So we're trying to eliminate having to code common activities, and that's what the widgets are there for. So I want to bring in data, I can use a widget. C, this is the canvas. So this is where we're building the experience itself. So you can see in here we have some geometry of an engine, and there's a gauge, a 3D gauge floating above that. D are the properties of a particular component. So if I drag a widget to create an experience, and that widget is geometry, I have properties of that particular widget. And then E, built into our tool to create augmented reality, is this connection to our innovation platform. So our IoT platform allows us to connect to physical products out there in the world and other systems and 3D systems, model those products. So you can create, let's say, a model of a physical product like a car, define all the properties, and then you can use that model to connect to thousands of that particular product. Well, back here in the augmented reality creation part, I would like to build an augmented reality experience that shows readings for, let's say, a car. But I don't want to build 1,000 of them. I just want to build one template and then apply it each time to a car and still get the right readings and right information. So this tab here allows us to bind the information coming from the IoT platform directly into the AR experience. And then at the bottom, we have all the connections, and you can manage the connections, delete bindings, and improve upon connections there as well. So this is what you get out of the box, and there's some operations at the top as well. But what we're here today to talk about in this particular session is how we can extend upon this. So let's say you get to a point where we did not provide you some functionality that you would like to have in an experience. Notice in our component window here, we have a home.js, and the home.js takes you directly to the JavaScript editor. And I don't know why I'm building that again. So when you select upon that, in our Studio AR tool, we have this built-in JavaScript editor. Again, we're using AngularJS, so common terminology, common vernacular, common components that you're already familiar with. You can always go out and learn more at the link that we put at the bottom if you're not an expert on this particular area. We provide global access to variables. So again, that's what the scope access is providing. So I can define things in certain areas and access properties and other information in other areas. We have some syntax validation checking in the JavaScript editor, and we have widget event handling. So not only can you go in and define your own functions, define your own information that you want to include in the AR experience, but you can connect that back to the widgets that we've already provided for you. So this is where it gets very interesting. So now you can take our out-of-the-box information, bring in your own programming goodness, and then marry the two together and get an even better AR experience. So how would you do that? Well, in the tool, and this is another example you can see of a screenshot where we're providing a AR experience on a particular military vehicle. And in this case, over on the right-hand side, this is where we have the property information of a particular component. So again, that component might be geometry or gauge or some other label or some piece of information that we put into the 3D environment. And at the bottom, as you can see, we've blown up here, there is an events window, and there's a little JS button next to the different events. So the first event there is play, and I might want to play some sort of sequence or animation. And in the play started, I can put in a script and call my own function. So my own function that I defined back in the editor. So at this point now, when I go forth and call this event, I'm going to play that particular function. All right, any questions so far? All right, pretty straightforward. That's what I'm hoping there. So I'm going to turn it over to Martin, and he's going to now walk through several examples to give you an idea of what this looks like. Martin?
Great, thanks very much. So unfortunately, this is not like a 3-day course or like a 2-hour course. So I'm going to show you 2 simple examples of JavaScript and how it works inside of Studio. So give me 1 sec. So a very simple thing, it's not included in our software today, is being able to actually touch on a model item, which is a part of the model, and change its color. We don't have it as a widget yet or any functionality built in, but due to the fact that we're an open platform and we allow you to actually develop how you want to develop with JavaScript or AngularJS, we can actually do it in one line inside our software. So I'm going to run you through one very, very simple example, and then another one which is slightly more advanced. So I've actually broken up this example into all those different components, where you have the JavaScript side on the top, you have the model in the middle, bound to a model item. So a model item is a part. So if you build a CAD model which has 25 parts, when you bring the model into our studio, you can actually drag model items onto each part inside the model, and then you can actually do separate actions against those model items. So if I want to click on a model item and it will start an assembly or a disassembly or a sequence, I can do that. If I want to change the color, I can do it very simply in one line of code. So what I've done here is inside the home.js, I've created a function here using the scope called change to red. Extremely simple. Inside this function itself is I'm referencing the model item 20, which is actually this model item right here where the blue is. I'm changing its color, RGBA color. Again, very simple. Most JavaScript developers know this. And then what I've done is in the end, I've added the change to red on a click event. So pretty much a click event like everyone knows in JavaScript. When I click on the event, execute this change to red, and then once I run this, and I go inside the studio and execute the program, I'll be able to actually, in my mobile app or my HoloLens or my Surface Pro, whatever device you use, when I actually scan and view it, I'll be able to touch on the actual model item. Very simple, very easy. It's not in our software today. It will be in the future, but just another way to extend what we don't have into JavaScript. Any questions around this? There? Oh yeah, absolutely. Correct, exactly. Exactly. So I'm referencing the model item 20, which is this one right here. And then obviously, you can have a list or an array, and on each click of an array item, you can do other things. Again, up to your imagination. Yeah, great question, sorry. So as Matt said earlier, every one of the widgets has a bunch of events that you can actually you can use. So most of the widgets have a click event. Some have a model may have a play all, and different events. But on a simple model item, it has a click event, so you can do something on that specific item itself. Yep. Great question. So I understand. Maybe I just got to step back a bit. So when you have a widget called model, which is over there, you drag it on. It shows up in here as model 1 or whatever name you give it. In the model, you actually select the CAD model you want, and it will appear. So this is the pump demo, which we've had for a few years now. Out of the box, it brings the model in. So the model itself looks just like that one right there. And I want to say, you know what? I want to actually change this part, that one part, to red. Or when I click on that one part, do something. No. So when you build the model itself, the model consists of assemblies, parts, etc. So we don't show the parts inside Studio currently, like every part. You just drag your model item, and it will actually show you a selection of each of the parts inside the model. So if you want to get to, say, that part right there, you just drag it on, and it'll create a model item. Any other questions? Okay. So another cool thing we don't have in the product today, but it's very easy to do in JavaScript, is if someone's doing like a marketing sales application and they want to be able to press over here to get more information, or anything you guys want to do, press on this, run a sequence, and just make it more snazzy and make it more animated, you can do that in our software as well. So this requires, as you see over here, it's a lot more code than the other code. So in this code, for example, here, we actually have 4 images that depict the image you saw earlier. So you have the hand, you have the green ball, the outer one, and the third layer. So in this code over here, what we're doing is we're actually toggling visibility based on pulsing or based on flashing in JavaScript. So if you look at the code here are the actual functions we created. So a pulse, again, very easy. All the pulse will do is it will flash and hide and show the object. Unfortunately, today, we actually have to set the visibility of the object to true and false. But again, that's coming up in the future versions where it'll be much easier to work with them. Because even I find when I build a lot of images, I'm hiding and showing a lot of stuff based on clicking. So if I want to show something, I have to hide it and then show this. And then, so we're trying to get away from that horrible coding practice and make it easier for the users to do stuff. So there is a plan to have GIFs, in our software. So just upload GIFs, which will obviously take away all this code, which is a good thing for developers. So we talk about extending AR, right? So we have the ability to set intervals, set timers in JavaScript, stop timers, obviously using functions, modular code. So anyone who can develop in JavaScript, AngularJS, should find that inside our JavaScript editor, should find it very easy to develop their own stuff. We do use all the $HTTP and the $scope and all the verbs that you do get in AngularJS. So most of them are allowed. I know that iOS phones don't allow reaching out to third-party systems. It's just security. But yeah, I mean, so the whole goal is to make it open. It is a drag and drop system. We do want developers to be able to actually go in there and make it better for them and make it much more, just make it better than just drag and drop. We want you guys to be able to actually go in there and make changes and do whatever you guys want. Yeah. So another thing, which I'm not sure everyone knows here, but when you write in JavaScript, we don't have a debugger per se inside our software, but we do allow you to use the inspect from Chrome we allow you to actually use their tools to actually debug stuff. So again, just taking on the very first example I used, if I add console.log and some debug message to the JavaScript, when you right-click or Control-Shift-I in Windows, you get the developer tool on the side of the studio. Everything you do inside your functions will then output to their window. So we don't have breakpoints and stuff like that, but that's an easy way to actually inspect and debug your code. Another thing we've done in the JavaScript window, which we didn't cover earlier, is we've actually have syntax validation, which wasn't in the previous version. So if you write JavaScript code in the last version, if you ran it and something happened, it'd be very hard to find where the code errors were. So in the JavaScript editor now, we have warnings and errors and stuff like that to show the developer. And this is a constant development process we're doing to make it better and easier for developers. Okay, so one very cool thing about Euphoria Studio is obviously, and all ThingWorx product is the huge amount of help there is for developers. Obviously, we're trying to open this up to everyone, so we have a developer zone, which is highly recommended by me to actually go into. It has a whole bunch of examples from ThingWorx to Studio, analytics. We have a whole bunch of YouTube videos, which for beginners, intermediate, and advanced users, you can go in there and actually step by and watch users building real apps. And then obviously inside Studio itself, we do have a help. If you don't know how to get there, I can show you later, but it actually has a whole bunch of examples. Again, the Blue Pump demos in there, advanced demos are inside of it. And again, step-by-step stuff to help the beginner, intermediate, advanced get going further and further. And that's it.